You're listening to DraftKings Network.
The kids are still at practice, and I have no idea what's for dinner.
You can get a rotisserie chicken and 2 sides for just $15 in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Who said that? Who's in my house? Don't play with me, because I'm not the one.
It's just your friendly Walmart announcer. This is a commercial.
Oh, okay. You were saying dinner for a family was just $15?
Yep, it'll be at your door by the time you get the kids home from practice. Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Subject to availability, restrictions and fees apply.
Now that was a helpful commercial.
I want complaints. I want commentary. I want critiques. JuJu Gotti is listening to the show throughout the show. He is listening to our fans throughout the show. What are they complaining about today, JuJu? What did I get wrong today?
I mean, I would like to, first of all, it's good to see all of y'all. I'm always honored to be here. You dig it? I want to kind of go back a couple of days because how propaganda is started just like this. This is a great example of how propaganda is started. I listened to my beautiful, illustrious brother Mike, and I listened to my beautiful, illustrious brother Dan, and said, Righteous Gemstones, IPU, that first episode. And so I was like, you know what? I'll wait till next week and watch it. But then after yesterday's show, Jessica and Amin was like, no, not so fast, my friendly Corso style. I watched it, and I was locked in the entire episode. Bradley Cooper did a wonderful job of showing how this whole gemstone scam was started. Dare I say, it was magnificent. Not just a war piece, an informative piece, sirs.
I appreciate the perspective, and I'm all for, zigging while zagging. I like that they have occasionally done some episodes that are unexpected. It's just, I like it because it's funny. And
yeah,
I know that they're trying to lay the foundation. I feel like you could do that and also tell a joke.
It was funny. It was hilarious.
It was a dark comedy.
Yeah.
I like dark comedies. I know what they're going for. And it didn't work. You would think it would work with me. I didn't feel it.
That's fine.
You're watching too much hockey. Everything's so straightforward.
Team JuJu and Amin, though.
I believe that all of the best stuff that gets made these days, I don't believe any of it gets universal applause. The people who are taking the chances are the ones that are getting those conversations going because we have a standard of expectation that is higher than most for the best things that are made. So it's only the greatest compliment. I see that Danny McBride is making the rounds everywhere now doing interviews. Well, he is somebody who's graduated. He's been wanting to make a war movie since Tropic Thunder. That's where he started to break out, and that's what he did with the first. Did we do Thursday Thunder Day? We haven't done Thursday Thunder.
Let's do it, Dan.
What are we waiting for?
Tropic Thunder.
That's right. It's Thursday Thunder, and it's brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. JuJu?
Man, if you tuned in to Thursday Thunder last week, I apologize from my heart to your heart. I had 3-leg parlay. Of course, 2 of them hit easily. The third leg of the parlay was a sham, a travesty. I demand justice. Brandon Podziemski over 12.5 points. He played 44 seconds into the game and went out with a back spasm, not to return the entire game. And that's how we lost Thursday.
I'm sorry,
JuJu. Exactly. I'm sorry more. But this week, we're going with a single game parlay, and we're traveling to Milwaukee, Amin's favorite town, where they dunked him in the tank over and over again. First leg, I'm going Giannis Antetokounmpo, 13-plus rebounds, over 13 rebounds against your Los Angeles Lakers.
I like it.
And the second leg, I'm going with the tall brother, the twin himself, Brook Lopez, for over 12 points tonight against the centerless, if you ask me, Lakers. Even though he's a big man that hangs around the three-point line, I think it's going to be a lot of cookies available around that monster of a goal tonight for Brook Lopez. Over 12 points for my brother. And the last leg, Heat legend, Heat, I was going to say Heat Mafia, but Heat Culture Mafia disciple, Gabriel Vincent. You dig it. We're going over 10 points for him tonight because they're going to need scoring from somewhere, and it ain't going to be Jared Vanderbilt. Watch it be Jared Vanderbilt.
The Lopez
Those
brothers.
are your Thunders.
I thank you. The Lopez brothers, I think, have a home on the Disney World property, which just seems magical as 7-footers who are giant toddlers.
They live in Celebration?
So here's the deal. Before they ever made the NBA, they had a family trip to Disneyland every single year. Their mom and their brothers, they would go to Disneyland every single year. When they got drafted and they got money, it became a yearly trip to Disney World. When Brooke signed his extension, his rookie extension, then he had real money. It was like, I'm buying one of them houses that's on Disney property down in Orlando.
Not medieval times, though. Interesting.
Not medieval times.
Did we find out how many medieval times there are in the United States? Did we
9.
ever? There can't be that.
Is that yes or no?
No.
Yet.
JuJu, do you have anything for us in the way of commentary on today's show? Any of the subject matter land poorly or well?
Oh, you knocked your mic out, buddy.
The last conversation we were having. The last conversation we was having, I'm gonna be depressed on that for like the next 2 days. So sorry about that.
It'll be cleaned up.
Literally gonna have
It'll
a
be
bad
cleaned up.
weekend
It'll be cleaned
because
up.
of that. It's
That will
okay.
have to be.
I was gonna lean into it.
In which Dan saying it'll be cleaned up will make 0 sense.
Well, I gave it to. I told Dan I'll clean it up, and I was trying to help, but then it got out on the air,
Now
and
we
now
should
here
leave
we
it
are.
in.
Now here we are.
We're gonna leave all of it.
Leave all of it in. It's all of my fault, as usual. And just to remind people, if you're listening to these post-game shows and you're taking anything serious, remember, I am a comedian. I identify as a comedian. So take my words with a grain of salt that you take Andrew Schultz's and you take Big J. Okerson's. But I was listening to you guys' last conversation about road rage, and I have the kind of opposite opinion of road rage. One of my New Year's resolutions is to not show road rage one bit at all this year, because newsflash, we live in crazy times, bros and sisters. Like, sometimes you road rage against somebody, or you honk your horn to somebody who's having a worse day than you are, a worse life than you are, and is on the edge. So I think it means advice, while valuable, I don't agree with it at all. You honk your horn at the wrong person, you're getting your rearview mirror chopped off by a guy. Now you gotta deal with that. The unfortunate solution is to just be the change you want to see in the road. You got to refer back to your life and just think about how blessed you are to live the life you live versus the life of a construction worker or a forklift driver. Salute to the forklift drivers and construction workers, but those brothers have it hard. We get blessed to talk in the microphone these days. Oh my goodness, imagine that happening to you.
There is the rear view mirror chop in the streets of Miami across the street from us. JuJu did not like that video the first time that it appeared. I will say, though, that Amin is indeed wrong when he says that the vehicle should be a vessel for huge resentment, a tube for your displeasures, and that the way that you should engage with others is by leaning on your horn aggressively. You are asking for a fight in Miami.
I'm just saying that if you don't do it in there, you're going to do it somewhere else to someone that you care about, and that's not
if
you
you're
do
not,
it in therapy. You go to
you're-
therapy and you talk to your therapist about this stuff. You work out these problems. You don't have to have a release. You don't have to let it out on someone one day and then regret letting it out later. But you are right about pedestrians, though, because even if you have the right of way as a pedestrian, if I hit you with my car, your life goes right away. So just please don't look both ways before you
There
cross
you
the
go.
street.
Good advice. Cyclists throughout South Florida, don't die in the street. What polls do we have to update here, JuJu?
Today's polls are: did Whitty slurp?
That seems obvious.
Chris Slurpingham. 94% of the audience says yes, he slurped. Dang.
We
I'm sorry, Whitty.
ruined his big day.
He did a fantastic job yesterday too, man. You too, Jeremy. More embarrassing, a Jeremy Taché fist pump or a Whittingham slurp? 53% of the audience says a Whittingham slurp.
Oh, thank God.
It was a tight one, though.
It's particularly funny because he's such a professional. He's horrified by making that sound publicly. He tried to deny it.
He was frozen.
He said, I inhaled. I was just an inhale. Come on, man. That's too wet to be an inhale.
Hey, yo, would you rather your partner always talk in medieval Old English or pirate slang? 56% of the audience said pirate slang.
Arr.
Arr.
Arr. The eyes have it.
What? And are people leaning on the horn more these days? Well, we haven't. This just never has happened before in the history of the show.
No.
50% of the audience says yes,
that's not
and
possible.
50%
That's
of the
not
audience
true.
says
That's
no.
not in any way true.
Those are your polls.
Liar!